It's KingTutsPro. Welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. In today's video, I want to show you guys how to recreate this super cool Pixar eyes effect in Final Cut Pro 10. You don't have to use any presets or plugins. Also, make sure you're on the newest version of Final Cut Pro. This way you have the tracking feature. If you don't have it, you can check by clicking on the Inspector tab, going down to the option here where it says Trackers. If you don't have this, you're not on the newest version or you're not updated. So just make sure you update. That way you can have this feature because it is important. By the way, we all know editing can be a pain, especially when it comes to finding music. That's why I want to give a special thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this portion of the video. Epidemic Sound is an online global royalty-free soundtrack company that provides music for your personal or commercial projects. But with Epidemic Sound Connect, you get to unlock the full experience of music all within your favorite content creation apps like Dizzy. Simply log in directly in the app, and in seconds, you will be able to browse from thousands of music and sound effects. This saves you a lot of time and makes it easy for you to edit on the go without ever having to leave the app. You can also explore created playlists for every genre, browse themes like travel, workouts, or gaming. You can even publish and monetize your content free of charge. Connect works on mobile and desktop platforms, so you can work wherever you are, and the mobile app is free to download. Epidemic Sound works with leading music creators from around the world to bring you exclusive, authentic new tracks on a daily basis. As previously mentioned, you can monetize, promote, and advertise your content from TikTok or YouTube with a paid Epidemic Sound subscription. Thanks to their awesome licensing, you won't have to worry about copyright strikes or takedowns. Click the link in the description for a 30-day free trial. Now let's get back to the tutorial. What you want to do is go over to the titles and generators, go down to the generators, go to solids, and you're going to add a custom generator here. Click and drag that above your clip, and then you're going to trim it. You're going to select the clip, go over to the Inspector tab, go to the parameters where you can change the color, press V so you can kind of hide the clip, and then click on the black box, and you're going to have this little eyedropper tool. Go ahead and click on it and then sample the color of the car that you want to use. In this case, it's that nice M3 blue color. Once you're happy with the color, go ahead and close it, and then you're going to re-enable the clip, and then this is where we're going to create the animation of the Pixar eyes. The only thing you do need is the actual PNG image of the Pixar eyes, which I will provide in the description. I want to first create a mask so that we can mask the top area of this blue solid background. So go over to the effects, go down to masks under video, add the draw mask onto the clip, zoom out of the frame to like 50%. And then from here, what I want to do is make about 5 points. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6. We'll do 6 points. And then I might want to make this point or control point a smooth curve. So instead of it being linear, if you right click on that point and you click on smooth, this will make it a smooth curve, which is what I want. So I'm gonna go like this. And this is pretty much like the eyelid, so to speak, of the car. So once we have it like that, I think that looks perfect. Now what I want to do is pretty much animate this. So I'm going to move this down like that and make sure that this is kind of straight. Okay, so once we're here, I'm going to go over to the video inspector button. So with the draw mask selected, go to control points, add a keyframe, and then expand the transforms, add a keyframe next to position. And we're going to be changing the values through here and not through here because it'll just make it cleaner, I suppose, less keyframes. So once we've added those keyframes, we're going to go and skip quite a bit of frames to like maybe 24. And we're going to drag the y-axis up to about here. And then we're going to skip quite a bit of keyframes and then move this back down. But don't move it to the same exact spot. Maybe like here, maybe like that. And then again, move it a couple of frames, drag the y-axis up a little bit, and then drag this all the way down like again, and move the y-axis back down. So now it should look something like this. Super smooth. And then if you think that looks kind of weird, just right click on the video, click show video animation, and you can see all of the keyframes that we've made. You can kind of play around with the position if you just click and drag these keyframes, and it'll look kind of like that. You can delete one also to make it look a little bit kind of like this. So maybe it's a little bit more random. So I'm going to drag the first keyframe in, click and drag, and then kind of move it like this. The first keyframe doesn't move, the second keyframe moves up, the third keyframe moves down, the fourth keyframe kind of stays the same. That's pretty much all you gotta do, okay? And then go ahead and close the video animation tab. From here, we're gonna add a white background, and this will be kind of like the white part of the eye, so just close the inspector tab, go over to the solids, add the whites generators underneath the blue solid background. Move the playhead here, trim it by pressing Command B, and then delete the rest. Then duplicate the blue background by holding Option on the keyboard and dragging it down. With it being selected, we're gonna go back to the Inspector tab, select the draw mask, and we're gonna reset this. Now we're gonna recreate the bottom part. So zoom out to 50%, make those points again, but on the bottom part, I'm going to click in the middle again just to add a point there. Now this will be like the bottom eyelid, so to speak. And then I might also change that to a smooth curve just so it's a little bit smoother. Select the top clip, right click and go to show video animation so we can see the keyframes. We're going to drag the playhead to the first keyframe right here. Make sure it's snapped exactly where it's at. With the bottom mask selected, right click and go to show video animation. So with the bottom one selected, add a keyframe next to control points, expand the transforms, add a keyframe next to position. We're going to start this off like that. So we're going to drag it down, expand it so it covers the whole white part, then move the playhead to the second keyframe. It should snap like around here because we have the video expanded on the top clip. The bottom one, we're going to drag this one down now to like about here. Drag the playhead to the third keyframe, which is around here. We're going to drag this one up. So it should look something like this. And then on the fourth keyframe, which is about here, we're going to go in a little bit more. So this way it kind of almost mimics the same movement as the top one. So if I push play, it's going to look kind of like that. Once we have those, we can close out of the video inspector. Now we just got to add in the eyes. Go into the project window. Again, link is in the description if you guys want to download this one, or you can just source your own. So I'm going to click and drag this one. So the eyes are beneath the blue background. I'm going to increase the size of the eyes like this. We need to animate this. So again, go to transform, go to the beginning, add a keyframe, kind of skim through, and then kind of start moving it a little bit. So it's kind of like that. And then the second keyframe, we can kind of move it around like over here. And then over here, maybe we can kind of move it down like that. And then on this frame, we can kind of move it up a little bit. So now if I go back and I push play, it'll look kind of like this. If you think that moves way too fast, right click on the eyes clip and go to show video animation or press Control V. Make sure you click done here on the transform. Then you can just kind of move these out like that. And it should look a little bit smoother. Again, this totally depends on how far apart the keyframes are. The closer they are to each other, the quicker it's going to move like that. And it's just going to look really choppy. So make sure the keyframes are separated quite a bit. So once you're happy with that, what we're going to do is select all 4 clips, hold Option G to group them together. And I'm going to name this Pixar. Click OK, and then if I push play, it'll act as a single clip. All I got to do is go to transform, bring down the opacity, scale this down to like over here maybe, zoom in to about 200%, maybe even more. Use this to pan around your video, select the Pixar eyes, go back to the transform, click your video and drag it to any of the corners. I'm gonna be focusing on this left corner. So I'm gonna drag it here, and I need to kind of distort this video. So in order to do that, just right click, go to distort, click the other corner and drag it over here, and do the same thing for each corner. Now, this is where it gets a little bit fun. Make sure that the corners are out kind of like past the windshield, because we're going to be masking this out again to make a soft feather. So we don't see any of that harsh lines, because it will show. So kind of like this. Click done, bring back the opacity to 100, make sure the colors match. Now all we're going to do is track it. So for this to work, we're going to go back to transform. We're going to click on the tracker button. I'm going to be tracking the emblem of the BMW. So in this case, this on the hood. So drag this in the middle, drag the orange circles inwards, and you might need to do that to the top as well. So just click and drag this and move it down. Get it as close as you can to the emblem. This makes it so we can track, we have an area to track the car on. So this looks pretty good to me. Then click Analyze. Final Cut Pro will analyze it in real time, as you just saw. Make sure you skim through, make sure it's tracking it pretty well. I think that looks great. You're gonna notice now that it's kind of off. We can easily fix that by clicking back on the Pixar eyes. You're gonna see the tracking squares, and we're gonna actually add a keyframe next to position. So I'm gonna zoom in again. On the first keyframe here, at the very beginning, add a keyframe next to the tracker. You'll see kind of like this square over the diamond icon. That means it's tracked. Then go back to transform, drag it over to the right so it's back in the same position that we made it in. You're gonna skim through to the very end, go 1 frame to the left, click and drag and move this over. And we're also going to have to kind of scale it down a little bit. So again, it's okay if you go a little bit bigger than the windshield. We're going to be masking it anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. So like that looks fine. So now if I go back and push play, it should look a lot better. Now that we have that, we're going to go and create another mask. We're going to go back to the effects, and we're going to add another draw mask onto the grouped clip named Pixar, the one we just pretty much made, right? We're going to zoom in again to 400. And what I want to do here is reduce the opacity of the eyes clip. And what I want to do here is make a selection of the windshield, just the windshield. So go ahead and click and make sure that this path is perfect. Okay, and then once you're happy with the selection, I'm going to bring back the opacity to 100. And then now we're going to see that we can adjust the feather. So we can feather it inwards or outwards. Let's see what looks better. So I'm going to feather it inwards actually a little bit. It should look something like this. Looks pretty clean. Of course, the tracking could have been a little bit better, but we got something very similar to the original video. So again, a big shout out to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. Link is in the description if you guys want to try out music or sound effects for your own commercial or personal projects too. Link is in the description, and I will catch you guys in my next video.